All right, let's talk about the biggest question on everyone's mind when it comes to AI. How accurate is it really? I mean, we see these big numbers thrown around all the time, but what do they actually mean? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and get to the bottom of what's really going on. So, which is it? Is AI some kind of super precise tool that's hitting the mark 99% of the time? Or is it more like a really confident liar, sounding completely sure of itself even when it's just making stuff up? And this isn't just some techie question. It really gets to the very heart of whether we can actually trust these systems. And the answer, as you probably guessed, is, well, it's complicated. The accuracy of an AI isn't just one simple number you can slap on it. It completely depends on what kind of AI we're talking about, what specific job you're asking it to do, the data it's seeing, and maybe most importantly, how you're even defining what success looks like in the first place.
And that gets us to our first really big idea. Accuracy isn't some built-in feature that an AI just has, like a car has four wheels. No, it's something that is earned for a very specific task in a very specific context. And that context, it's everything.
So think about it like this. There are really two extremes of AI performance. On one side, you have AI being incredibly, almost perfectly accurate. But that's for narrow, super well-defined tasks, where there's one clear right answer. Your email spam filter is a perfect example. But then, on the other side, you've got these open-ended, creative tasks, like getting a chatbot to write an essay. Suddenly, accuracy becomes really slippery. There could be a dozen different correct answers. And the AI might be built to be helpful, not necessarily 100% factually perfect.
So if it's not just one number, then what is it? Well, you should think of accuracy as like a whole family of different metrics. They're all related, they all measure something important, and you know what? Sometimes they're even fighting with each other.
First up in the family, you've got precision. This is the quality metric. It's basically asking, of all the things I said were a match, how many did I actually get right? A high-precision spam filter is what you want, right? Because it almost never throws an important email into your junk folder. It avoids those dreaded false alarms.
And then you've got its sibling, recall. And recall is all about quantity. It asks a different question. Of all the things I should have caught, how many did I actually find? Think about an AI used for medical diagnosis. You want incredibly high recall there. You would much rather have a few false alarms than miss even one actual case. And this right here shows the trade-off perfectly. See, if you tune a system for perfect precision to never be wrong, you're probably going to miss a few things. But if you tune it for perfect recall to catch everything, you're almost guaranteed to get more false alarms. Finding the right balance totally depends on what's at stake.
But wait, there's more. The family is even bigger. You've got calibration, which asks, is the AI's confidence level for real? Like when it says it's 90% sure, is it actually right 9 times out of 10? Then there's robustness. What happens when you throw it a curveball, like a typo or some weird slang? And maybe the biggest one for today's AI is truthfulness. Is it just making stuff up, but saying it with total confidence? Okay, so how does all this theory actually play out in the real world? Let's take a look at the patterns of where AI tends to shine and where it really fails. Because understanding this is the key to using AI well and, more importantly, safely. So, AI is at its best under these very specific conditions. When the task is narrow, when you've fed it tons of clean, neatly labeled data, and when the goalposts aren't moving too fast. Honestly, the boring superpower behind most big AI wins is just having a clear right answer and a mountain of examples to learn from. It's not glamorous, but boy, is it effective. And this is so important. The biggest danger with a lot of the AI we use today isn't just that it gets things wrong. No, it's that it can be fantastically, confidently, and very plausibly wrong. This is that whole phenomenon we now call hallucination.
Just look at this sentence. It starts out perfectly fine, sounds totally authoritative, and then a horse named Stardust, it just goes completely off the rails. This is a perfect AI hallucination. It weaves fact and fiction together so smoothly that if you're not really paying attention, you might actually fall for it. I just love this analogy because it makes the risk feel so real. I mean, relying on an unverified AI for something important, it's like eating sushi that's been sitting out in the sun. It might be fine, but are you really willing to take that chance when the stakes are high? It's a huge gamble. Okay, so we get the problem. Now, What do we do about it? Let's switch gears and talk about a practical toolkit you can use to evaluate AI systems so you can actually judge these tools for yourself. Here it is. This is the checklist that people often skip and they almost always regret it later. First, define the task so you can actually test it. Summarize this article is kind of vague. Summarize this in 3 bullet points. Now that's testable. Second, use data that looks like the real world, not perfect, clean examples. Third, pick your metric, precision, recall, based on what happens if you get it wrong. Fourth, throw some weird stuff at it. What happens with a typo or an emoji? And finally, number 5, and this is crucial, you have to keep testing because an AI's performance will always get worse over time as the world changes around it. So here are the tools you can use. Instead of just trusting some generic score online, build a test for your specific job. Instead of relying on one magic number, use multiple metrics to get a full picture of what the AI can and can't do. If the AI gives you a confidence score, check its calibration. Does 90% sure actually mean anything? And finally, for anything that involves safety or tone or nuance, you just can't beat having a real human review it. So let's tie this all together. The big takeaway is this. Accuracy isn't a single score. It's a whole system. Remember that it's a family of different metrics. For creative AI, the goal isn't a perfect score, but a trustworthy system, one with checks and balances. And at the end of the day, the only benchmark that truly matters is how well an AI works for your specific needs. So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time an AI spits out a smooth, confident-sounding answer, are you just going to take it at face value? Or are you going to be the one who asks for the receipts, who checks the work, and who really verifies the claims? How you answer that is going to define how you navigate this new AI world. Thanks for tuning in.